What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fire, Eric Sheetaber. We're going to be talking about today's MLB slate. We got basketball back tonight, so we're back in business with that as far as that goes, which is kind of good for me because I have I don't know, I'm not getting the right mix in baseball. Even when I get some of the right teams like Arizona last night, I don't know how I didn't seem to win with that one. So it's not a good night for me. Sheets, anything for you before we jump into today's slate?
Yeah, I got a couple of things to talk about actually. Very little to do with anything that you just said.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, I listen. I really enjoy like the other sports, as you know. Okay, for a lot of reasons. Right? Number one, I feel that the puzzles are different. Number two, it's really cool when you're down swinging or whatever it is in one sport. You know what I mean? To have something else that you could sweat, that to root and stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. And I've been continuing to do the LOL stuff. Um, the other thing with the MLB last night, I mean, I got nothing done in the MLB last night. I mean,
Yeah.
and I don't even know who I had. I mean, I had some Phillies. They didn't do anything. I mean, they did something later, but it wasn't enough. I don't even know who I had. I played like Minnesota. You know what I mean? Like all kinds of stupid stuff. You know what I mean? Played some of that game. Figured, hey, it'd be low owned, and I guess it was for a reason. Um, uh, but yeah, I mean, listen. Usually that's the way baseball works, and everything works with me like that. Just don't do anything. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. All of a sudden, you just nail something.
Yeah.
That's the way variance is. So what I got involved with last night. All right, and this is what distracted me. All right, so as you know, and I'll use the chat for this. The chat, as you guys know, there's as you some of you may or may not know, I did a lot of AAU coaching over the years. Okay, there's like 5 years in a row where I did it, and I did all kinds of I made all kinds of videos and things like that. And one of the videos that I did about, boy, I want to say 10 years ago, okay, was something called Ball Thief. There was somebody, I had a practice, and that's one of the things that always tilted me was that you brought basketballs to practice, and mysteriously they would just disappear, like because you share courts with other teams, whatever. And one time I brought like 8 balls to practice, 7 balls returned, and I'm like, I'm over this. And it turns out that there was security footage in like the whole gym, okay? And I was determined to figure out what the hell happened to my basketball. So I must have been like 30 man hours scanning through the footage, and I actually found what happened to the basketball. And I did like a full 40-minute video on that, and I called it Ball Thief. And I'm posting these here. If anybody ever wants to watch this, you got to be really focused and pay attention. But the reason I bring it up is, again, it just showed I was willing to invest the 30 man hours to figure it out. Okay, I didn't even want the ball back. I just wanted to solve the problem. Okay, so I bring this all up as an incredible introduction. Okay, so the reason why I got distracted yesterday, there was another thing that happened. So I stopped coaching myself like a year or two ago, actually maybe like 3 years ago, and now I help out with this Crown team, and I referred to these guys a bunch of times or whatever. And so what I do for them, among other things, is I download the footage from all their games, and I do analytics videos and things like that. And so yesterday I had this issue that I downloaded footage from their game, and I was about to break it down, the statistics and everything, and I noticed that the entire game footage was 30 minutes. Excuse me, the whole actual time of the game was 30 minutes, which made no sense because it's 16-minute stopped halves. So even if there were no stoppages, no timeouts, no nothing, the 30 minutes just doesn't make any sense. So I'm like, you know what? I got to figure out what the fuck's going on. Excuse me. So usually when that happens, there's kind of some break in the footage and things like that. But I was looking, there was nothing. So I did a full freaking deep dive last night for 2 hours into freaking what went on in the footage here. And I'll post this video. So believe it or not, in the long-awaited sequel to Boston, okay, hold on. Now we have something that is called Time Thief. What ended up happening, if anybody ever wants to go through this, the timekeeper in charge of keeping time literally stole 10 minutes from the games. Okay. First thing was at the beginning of the game, he put 14 minutes to the 16 minutes on the clock. Okay. That's the first thing. But not only that, during the course of the game, there were 8 different times where he literally took a minute off the clock, like midstream. It would be like 10:45, 10:44, 10:43, 9:43. Okay. And it was like, I mean, like you think you live to see everything. Okay. So I went through the whole video and I broke down exactly where these 8-10 minutes were lost. Okay. And so this is my brain working. You know what I mean? So that was my distraction last night. So if you guys really want to see what goes on in Cheats World, you know what I mean? Like if you really want an insight into my brain, that's the second video I just put out. So in any case, I was extraordinarily distracted from DFS last night, and it led to probably a bunch of losses. But I'm ready now that the ball thief and the time thief is behind me. I'm ready to get back into it.
Oh my God, I was not ready for all that. That's
no. I mean, listen, this is a very strange. We were supposed to go out at 12. We had a 12 special secret 12 o'clock call. Then the first 15 minutes talking about random AAU basketball nonsense. So maybe that shakes up the mojo a little bit.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, it sounds good. And guys, you can get this kind of content on TrueDFS.com.
There's nobody that's giving you this. I promise you that. Thank God for that.
That's pretty funny. All right, I'm going to share my screen and go through the games. Let's get into it. Here we go. All right, so Houston, Tampa Bay. Well, before I get into it, I actually should just double check the weather. I looked
a couple of weathers, no?
We've got Minnesota weather and then the White Sox weather, which Minnesota especially looks bad. The White Sox looks pretty bad as well, although not quite as bad. So I think the White Sox one is going to be the one to deal with when it comes time. Cleveland, Minnesota, not as interested in that one in general. Man, did they end up playing last night? I know they played and then they stopped and then they stopped. And did they finish? Like, I didn't even look at what happened. Keith, you said you had some stacks of Minnesota yesterday, maybe. Like,
sure.
let me see. Did they? I don't even know if they played. I know that it stopped in the second inning for like an hour, and then it was stopped in the fourth inning for like a couple more hours. I didn't know what was happening. Eric Furlick says you don't mess with a special detective Haber. That sounds legit. Sounds true. All right, so oh, that's funny. All right, so yeah, those are the two big weather ones, and then we do have like good hitting weather some places, and maybe a little bit of a not quite as good as we would usually expect in some certain other places. I will try and touch on those as we go through. The first one, it's a good hitting spot, and it's look, they're playing outdoors now. It's Tampa Bay. It's 87 degrees, and there's a little wind blowing out. Littell and Walter. Sheets, I don't think there's anything wrong with stacking either side of this game on a slate where it's probably going to be forgotten about. And if you wanted to also argue for Littell, I wouldn't have an issue with that either. But I kind of like this hitting environment, and I am not quite as high on Littell as maybe some other people are. I don't really know. It feels like people play him a lot. It's fine. I think he's an okay pitcher. That's exactly how I would describe him. I think he's solid, but I kind of like this spot here today as maybe a little bit off the board.
Yeah, the only thing is that I think there's just too many other options. I mean, I don't know. I have 3, 4, 5. I have like 7 teams that I rate. Well, I shouldn't say that. I do have Houston as in the mix. I have them as like 6th or 7th on DraftKings, which is probably good enough. So yeah, I'm kind of with you. Pitching wise, I don't think I'm getting to these guys. So for me, I'd love to just kind of cross this off, but I can't. So I'll be down with a little bit of Houston.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but every time Houston's playing, it seems like they're throwing another kid out there on the mound, and kind of want to take advantage of it. Even though, again, some of these guys are prospects, but I just want to take some shots against them. Well, we don't know. It didn't work last night because that kid dominated Tampa Bay for at least most of the time he was in there.
So here's the problem.
What's that?
The problem is in this Yankees game. Okay.
Yeah, you're going to it.
Yeah, no, that's not the problem. But although I am going to it, the problem is this.
Problem is Patrick Corbin?
Is that Patrick Corbin is pitching, and that's not the problem. The problem is that because Patrick Corbin is pitching today, That means he's probably pitching on Sunday.
So we get two. We're getting two Corbins, is what you're saying. But okay, so here's the counter. He's been pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I would have had no problem throwing the Corbin to the Virgins to the fire in the Yankee game. Okay,
you mean because of our survivor, yeah,
right. But to have to need him maybe in the game we're supposed to win, you know what I mean, against the White Sox or whatever, or the Rockies. I forget who we got later, but that's going to be rough. So I mean, I am going to the game, and I have, I mean, I'm just saying they're probably like a 4-1 favorite to win anyway against Corbin or whatever it is. But I have like a zillion game winning streak going to Yankee games. I mean, literally, I would say literally 10 games in a row. I've been to Yankee games and won, and I think 9 of them Judge hit a home run. It's like it's just legitimately insane. Now you have Will Warren. Like for me, I have him as very legitimate, like major option on this slate for some reason.
It's a massive slate, and it's weird to have that, right? Because I have the same thing.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, I have a bunch. I have like 5 or 6 pitchers, but he's certainly up. I mean, if you want to really split hairs, I have him as like 2nd overall value on the slate, which is a very, very strange. And he's not actually owned that much. I actually 20%. I guess that's okay. So I do have Will Warren projected very nicely, and I have the Yankees as one of the top options on this thing.
Yeah, I have the Yankees as well, but I would point out that hey, at least there's 10-mile-an-hour winds coming in from left. It's not especially hot there.
No, it's gonna be mild. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that suppresses a little something. Oddly enough, SaberSim is wanting us to play all, at least when I ran the first one of the day, they want me to play all the Texas.
Really? Okay.
That's where they're at. They're like, give me Texas. Texas costs nothing for the most part. Only Josh Smith and Wyatt Langford are even priced like regular players, and it's because they've been so terrible that they don't cost much. But I wouldn't mind taking some shots against Will Warren. Look, you got a little wind blowing in. It's not the best hitting environment, but I think Texas is going to go as my super large field list kind of type of a play. They're just so cheap. So I think both of the hitting sides of this game, and with Will Warren, I am probably gonna wimp out and do exactly like I'll leave that one up to the projections after I make changes on pitchers I actually want to, because I don't feel like it's the best thing in the world, but I get it. He's cheap enough. And it is Texas who's been struggling this season. All right, here's one that I think I have no interest whatsoever in the hitting in this game. And I think I might have a little more interest in the pitching, especially C's, than the field is going to. I'm just going to look at C's. It's a pretty low strike. I know that Toronto, doesn't strike out a ton, but I feel like C's is at low ownership kind of interesting today. Where are you at with this one, Sheets?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. That Toronto was such a low strikeout team, but apparently that's the case. But Cease always has, he has a range of outcomes. And whenever we talk about these guys with range of outcomes, when we use that kind of terminology, it's on the one hand, terminology justifying a fade of someone who's really, really chalky. Yet on the other hand, it could justify an upgrade of someone who's not that chalky. And Cease, I think, if you told me you're going to get 8,800 on Cease and be 15% owned in general, I would say that's pretty fair,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of with you. I sort of like that a little bit. What else though? Toronto, is it a Bassett? Is he the?
Yeah.
Fine, I guess.
Yeah, it's not fine if I ended up there, but not.
Yeah.
Not going out of my way for it against San Diego, but it's not like he's a bad pitcher. I think probably good enough to keep us off the bats, right? Like, I don't know
the other, by the way, the other productive thing we did yesterday, if it wasn't making money in DFS, is we kind of started to wrap our arms around like the best player in baseball idea. So the Tatis kind of like reminded us about how some of these guys are. So I don't need to be playing Bassett against guys like that. I don't think so.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, this game I think is probably less likely to play than to play.
Yeah.
At the moment, that's what it looks like. At least I don't know if we can go with it. If it were to play, I do like Gavin Williams. If it were to play, that's pretty much, oh my God. It's actually, if it were to play, it's going to be hard not to like. So it's 45 degrees with 16-mile-an-hour winds blowing in from center. If it was to play, okay, I'm just going to have to hold off on this. I'm not going to build until later today. I just think that's my other thing that I decided. I'm not going to do my morning builds and talk to the people in the chat. I know it's not as great maybe for the site. I'll show them later. But it just, I can't, what am I supposed to say about this? Like, I'm assuming right now this game probably doesn't play, but if it plays, Gavin Williams might be the best pitcher on the slate, probably is the best pitcher on the slate. So that's where I'm stuck. How about you?
I presume you mean price adjusted. I mean, we have Tariq Skubal on the slate. I mean, like,
you have well, I mean, yeah, but you have the Twins with nobody, without two of their best, probably their two best hitters, I'd say. And then you've got Skubal, but he's facing a team with all righties who historically are good against lefties. But yeah, you're right. I guess price adjusted, I would say.
Maybe you're right. Gavin Williams doesn't seem like a guy that would ever be like the best play on the slate. But
really,
to me, maybe it's my biases, I guess. But now I'm looking at the other pitchers here. I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, Gavin Williams is good. Like, and what's weird is like he dominated the Yankees earlier this year. He dominated the Phillies earlier this year. He dominated Arizona earlier this year. Like, he can pitch again. Like, he's got elite. Like, okay, elite. He's just on that tier below the top tier, right there. Like the top. He's done a tier next to the top 25, whatever that is. He's in the next, just barely the next tier, I think.
Yeah. So anyway, I have Gavin Williams rated third. So obviously you have to keep an eye on the weather, and I'm not getting any of the hitting.
Yeah. I think if you play the hitting in this game, even if this game plays, just cross off the hitting. This is like, if it's 45 degrees and you've got 16-mile-an-hour winds blowing in at you, there's no reason to do that on a full slate. All right, Bryce Wilson and Casey Lawrence in another one of the bad games, weather-wise, that also is incredible for pitchers. But I've got different. There seems to be a difference of opinion of who's starting for the White Sox today. I don't know who it's going to be. Whether it's going to be, they've got Jonathan Diaz here, and that's just the start. That's probably the opener, I guess. Then they would use. I'm sorry, for Seattle. Then they would use Lawrence. I don't know what to do with this. I guess the pitchers, because of the situation, if the game plays, are totally in play. I am not messing with 50-degree weather and 15-mile-an-hour winds blowing at me with bad offenses. So I'm sort of out on this one.
Yeah. The guy from the White Sox last night had like eight innings of work and like 15 fantasy points. The Davis
Martin.
He was great. He just doesn't strike anybody out.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He's the best of their, and of course, right when he goes out, they hit a grand slam or whatever.
Yeah, Julio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have Seattle, fringy, fifth or so overall play against whatever the White Sox throw out there. But if you're telling me again the weather is a little fishy, maybe I'll temper those expectations. And I'm not getting to who's pitching for Seattle, by the way. Anybody?
Well, that's the thing, is it looks like I'm getting a mixed thing between whether it's Wilson or whether it's Lawrence or this Diaz.
I'll probably play neither of them though.
They might do an opener. That's the one.
Okay. Hey, by the way, I forgot to mention. I don't know if he's actually going to start or play, but we should do more of this. I guess I'm just looking at individual plays and stuff like that. There's a guy for the Yankees that's supposedly starting at 2K. Pablo Reyes.
Oh, I usually try to get like some of the things. Yeah, but I mean, like, okay, let me just see.
I don't even know who he is.
So he may be starting, and he would be batting eighth. I know everybody loves these ultra minimum guys, but like, there's so much value. Like,
I guess.
I mean, look at all these guys. By the way, how is he 2K? But there's all these guys at 3K and 4K above him. Oh, it's because I got Milwaukee. Never mind. I got something checked wrong. That's why. Because he should be up there. Yeah. So you've got like Danny Jensen hit a home run last night, and he's whatever 2,400. So yeah, Reyes, and he would be the thing that makes the Yankee stacks work. Which, by the way, I think the Yankees are going to end up, pretty decent ownership, and I'd be surprised if it's as low as it is here. But you're right. I'll start pointing out the value, but I'll do it more on the live shows than I will on these, because this is sort of a first look thing, and I don't really get into.
Yeah, the other thing that we haven't done too much this year. The other thing we haven't done too much this year is the umpire stuff.
Yeah, again, it's I wait till 2 months, so it's not.
Yeah,
it's not quite there. We're almost there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the umpire stuff has gotten like they're saying right now, like it's so egregious and it's so stupid that there's umpires that I cannot even understand. I mean, it's going to be very, very soon. We won't have them anymore at calling balls and strikes, but you're right. We should be taking more advantage of it than we are right now. But it's a little tricky because, like, you read these other things that are totally contradictory. So it's not like the simple solution that you used to, where it was easy to tell who was a pitcher's and a hitter's umpire. Because one, they all change drastically in the offseason because they go through their work things. And then also, you could read the bats and you could read roto grinders, and you'll get, or whatever, anybody else who does an umpire thing, and you'll get totally the opposite information about the same umpire. So it's really hard to judge. I would say it's harder than ever because everyone is constantly trying to edge, like trying to figure out. So like even from game to game, if a guy misses 15 calls in one game and he's calling too many balls, he's probably going to pivot to the next game, which is just not the way it ever used to exist before. So you might end up getting yourself in more trouble than benefit with trying to figure out the umpire data, is my take. At least that's what I've been justifying, the fact that I haven't done any research on it, or as much research on the individual umpires as usual. All right, sorry. We can talk about Milwaukee and Baltimore, who always ends up higher owned than you think there'll be, and always ends up not doing much.
Well, what do you think of this Logan Henderson character? I mean, he's got like 2 strikeouts an inning over like 4 innings or something like that. He's got apparently he can bring heat, but he just has a very small sample size.
Yeah, he's got good stuff. Absolutely completely unplayable in my opinion.
Okay.
No leash whatsoever.
Okay.
In fact, even with what I just said about Baltimore, and it's a bullpen game for Baltimore, at least as of right now. I kind of think Baltimore is a little bit interesting to me on this slate. Like, I think there's a range of outcomes for guys like that. We've seen Milwaukee's bullpen get beat up enough times this year so far. This isn't the same, quite as strong as they used to be. And look, we can say whatever we want about the kid, but he's had 3 starts and he got completely lit up in one of them. And Baltimore is historically better against lefties than righties, at least have the lineup that should be better against lefties than righties. So I'm even with the lefties in their lineup, at least last year they were much better. So I kind of like the idea of getting to some Milwaukee today. I'm sorry, some Baltimore today. But these are large field plays. These are not like, I don't want them to be like my base or anything. They're just one of the teams that I'm considering.
Yeah, not much for me here. I mean, I'm just getting a Logan Henderson projection only because I guess, 15 points, but at 9,500, do you want that? Probably not. So
yeah,
I'll probably end up passing this game.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well then we get to the guy who we sort of agreed is I don't think it's really a hot take. I think he's the best pitcher in baseball. It's gonna be, as you can see, when I ran my first builds, I ended up with all the Scooble, and I feel good about that. What I didn't end up with was Detroit, which is another, like these all Detroit, Baltimore, Houston, Tampa Bay. These are all teams that I feel like are the teams that could get you there. So in the lottery, I want exposure to them. Maybe they don't make my big buy-in builds, but I do think Detroit makes some sense, and I think Scooble obviously is going to be the chalk, and for good reason.
Yeah. First of all, I just realized where my troubles from DFS came from last night. Partially was the time thief video, but partially was me not playing much of any of Sonny Gray.
That got to me. I ended up with some of them, but I still didn't get them.
Yeah. So Detroit was not hitting him yesterday. So Scooble, here's the thing. I mean, he's 11,500. And I say this with respect to DFS, with respect to UFC sometimes. for you to play like an $11,500 pitcher, I mean, he's got to put a number up. You know what I mean? And it's got. We talk about 20s and stuff like that. I mean, 20s is. I mean, you've got to start with 20 with an 11.5 guy, I think. Now, again, if there were a lot of cheap pitchers, cheap bats that you could play, you didn't need to get to some hitting, I would say you had no problem. But I mean, you got the Phillies, you got the Dodgers, you got the Yankees. You know, and the Yankees are in a pristine matchup. You know, the Dodgers have a good ballpark,
but the Dodgers shouldn't be looked at as an expensive team because they've got like 4 guys.
That's true.
Cheap,
that's true.
You know,
that's true.
So they are expensive at the top, but they've got such guys that make it work.
Maybe you're right. But yeah, I mean, I do have Scuba rated number 1. I mean, I think he's going to score the most fantasy points. I wonder if I wonder how what my Sims are going to. Are you getting the Scuba when you run the Sabres and stuff?
72%.
Okay.
I think there's a lot.
I'm going to run mine before we get done with this, and I'll let you know what I'm getting.
Yeah, here's the thing. So, like, yeah, you're right. You should probably start with a 20, but he's been over like 30. Like, and that's the thing is when he gets into the 30s, he's like the one guy. So his last starts, he's had 41 and 38 and a half and 2 out of the last 4. And then he had 35 2 starts before that. Then he had 27 the start before that against the Yankees. Then he had 30 before that. So he's like one of the guys who like 30 is like a real. Okay, I want 30 out of him, and that's a realistic expectation. You know what I mean?
Okay, all right, that's fair enough.
I think he might be one of the few, but it's not like the strikeout. You know, look, I was expecting to see like 7.4 or something like that for his expected strikeouts. They have 6.6. Makes it a little bit tougher. You can't really give up many runs if you're going to do that.
Yeah, I don't know if 6 strikeouts isn't going to do it, but 7 could do it if you go 6 and no runs. I mean,
right, exactly. Yeah, I think on a slate like yesterday, I would be all over Detroit here, but I just think that we've already run into more stacks that I like, and we're about to run into some more, so it's going to be a little bit tricky. All right, we've got Luzardo again. We're getting a little bit of chalk in the Colorado game. Worked out fine. It wasn't like the ideal thing, but it wasn't bad last night, right? Didn't he end up with like 18, 19, somewhere around there?
He was just fine.
Yeah. Luzardo, who, by the way, leads the league in ERA this season.
Really?
Yeah, a little surprising. 13-mile-an-hour winds blowing in from left, better for lefty hitting than righty hitting, for what it's worth. And Luzardo's a lefty pitcher, so of course you can hit opposite field home runs. It's not against the rules. But look, Luzardo is fine to me. I'll probably treat him like I will Warren, where if I end up, unless they try to give me like 90%, but I wouldn't mind being around the 20% range for him. I just think we have other options that, I like the Cease, I like Scooble. I think there's ways to find ways to spend up. So I'm open to Luzardo, and then Senzatella, this has been pretty grim. Like
he's the worst. He really is the worst, right?
He's really struggled this year, and not only that, he struggled. The only thing about him is he doesn't walk quite as many guys as you think he will, but it's because he's giving up home runs to them instead. So the lefties for Philly, and I would probably hand builders try to hand build the lefties if you're going to. In terms of their ownership, though, it's not like it's like some insane number. You're not like the teens for Coors is pretty reasonable. So I don't, and again, Senzatella has been the worst, but you have, that's pretty heavy winds blowing in from left field, which hurts the righties, but the lefties should be in great shape, and they're also really expensive. So maybe Philly doesn't get played quite as much tonight, and obviously Philly is a totally solid stack. Where do you stand with Luzardo and with the Phillies?
I have Luzardo rated kind of just below Cease. I have Cease rated 3rd. So I have Luzardo right below him, and above guys I'm probably not playing. But yeah. I still have the same thoughts that I did yesterday about this idea of playing like the road team pitcher in Colorado, especially with the road team hitting in Colorado. It just feels wrong. You're really, and this could be correct. You're really playing this because you're rating Colorado as just like basically a generational, like horrible team. You know what I mean?
Well, also, these pitchers are both all-stars who we've been talking about.
What's that?
The pitchers are both all-stars that we've been talking about. It's not like they're like average pitchers.
That's true, you know, but
you're right. It's been happening all year long.
So I don't think I want to play both of them. I don't think I want to play Luzardo with the pitching. Luzardo with the hitting. I just want to play chalk on chalk. So yeah, they both look good. Phillies look good. Luzardo looks good, and I certainly listen. When what's his name hit the home run like the first freaking inning off of Sanchez, I'm like, why don't I have like all the Colorado? And And I think I want to do that again. I think I want to have Colorado today too, just for the same.
Just be careful. I'm telling you that 15-mile-an-hour winds in from left is like,
yeah, that's true.
And you're wanting to play the righties so against Luzardo because he's lefty, so
that's
it's a little tricky.
That's true.
That's my only.
He's a lefty, Luzardo.
Yeah.
At least you don't have Charlie Blackmon there anymore to have 4 strikeouts in this game.
Charlie Blackmon at the end of his career. Charlie Blackmon early in his career, he was like the lock of locks every day.
Yeah.
Because he'd always do something. He'd have a triple, he'd have a stolen base, he'd have a home run sometimes. It was nuts. All right, Kansas City and San Francisco. I don't know what's going on with. So Birdsong he's just coming back, right, from the injury. Is he? Yeah, he hasn't pitched since last year. It's been over a year and 6 days today. So he's completely unplayable. Forget this flagship. Like, this is where SaberSim, I think, it's just like a glitch or something, and everybody else is gonna, even yours and Goldie's, your projections are all gonna change later. Nobody's playing Hayden Birdsong. He's projected to throw 56 pitches. Now, I don't know any guy who comes back even after a year and throws 56. I think 65 would be like the normal number, or 70 maybe. But either way, you're not playing Birdsong, but it sort of turns into somewhat of a bullpen-ish game. And by the way, the run total is really low. Birdsong has good stuff, by the way. I still believe in the guy's future. It's how he comes back from the injury. And then Michael Lorenzen to just completely shatter people's dreams again. He's done it so many. It feels like every time he pitches, I know it's not the actual case, but I feel like every time he pitches, he ends up screwing me somehow or another. Probably because I'm usually trying to stack against him. But I have no interest in basically anything in this game, and I know that's a long-winded way of saying it.
I am getting none of the pitching here, and I am getting none of the hitting here. So I am ready to roll. Okay,
I'm just making sure I have 0 of the Birdsong, because you don't want to do that.
And by the way, I just ran the DraftKings my sim. So after we're done, I will let you know what I have. Again, I'm using a different set of projections than you, so we'll see what I get is different. So what did you have, by the way? Skubal and the Rangers. That's what you have.
What did I have about the Rangers?
From your SaberSim builds originally. So
no, from the ones that went Texas, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Cleveland, which is ridiculous. That's Cleveland, Minnesota are both getting X'd out here.
Okay.
I'm not playing against that wind or with the weather or anything.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm actually going to do. This is just, and then those were just from my SaberSim runs. And by the way, all these projections do tend to what I've learned more and more about SaberSim is if you try to trust what the projections are in the morning, even if it's for baseball, basketball, whatever, and nothing changes, it's completely different than by the way it is at the end of the day.
Yep.
All right. So start your engines. This is the game to target, in my opinion. Look, we're going to get into this conversation. You have elite offenses and you've got weather warming up out west. It's 84 degrees in Sacramento, a little wind blowing out. Gunnar Hoglund, not afraid to pick on either of these pitchers even a little bit. So I think that we've got a 6-game home run streak for Kyle Hendricks. He's given up at least 1 home run in 6 straight games. I love this spot for both teams. I especially like Oakland. This feels like give me all the Oakland. Give me all the Angels. If you're not where I don't have the Oakland, I don't care what the Sims or whatever give me. I know they're going to have some ownership, but I also have another game after this that I can pivot over to should I choose. So it's going to be the similar story for me. The 8:30 game, the 8:40 game, and then the 2 late night ones are going to be my favorites, and I love this game.
at some point, I mean, there's going to be at some point during the season that I realize when I try to search for OAK and don't get anything, that there's nothing wrong. It's so annoying. But yeah, the Start Your Engines moniker was working pretty well. I think that it's like a 10-point total, right, or whatever the hell this is.
Yeah.
So I think that it's very reasonable. Now, with that said, I mean, sim-wise, I'm not like you said, I'm not really getting to them. But projections can change, everything can change, and it's a late game. So, I mean, you could honestly, Bobby, like just play the last 2 games if you want.
I think so, hitting wise for sure.
And just sit there, like perfectly late night sweat slates. Like every root for rain, coldness, wind, whatever else, postponements, root for somehow Philadelphia to not have 30 runs up on the board by the time Cinderella gets out of there. And then just go for these California games. But yeah, I like both sides of the hitting there and none of the pitching.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page, and then we get into the Dodgers and Arizona, and we just saw this matchup. I like Yamamoto a ton. We all know what a stud I think he is. I think there's only one clear pitching option on this slate, and that's Skubal. I don't see anybody else that stands out, and I just have enough respect for Arizona to where I'm not saying that Yamamoto is. I think he's totally a reasonable play, but it's hard to get up to 10-5 and 11-5 for your pitchers. And this is not an ideal matchup, although it wouldn't surprise me to see Yamamoto be great. It's, again, a beautiful night in LA, 75 degrees, 9-mile-an-hour winds going out. By the way, at the Dodgers and Diamondbacks, they've played like 4 times recently. Haven't all the games been like at least like 14 runs last night? And other games, they played the incredible 14-11 game in Arizona. It feels like every game these teams play, except for no, they had one that didn't get there. But it feels like this is like always like an offensive firepower thing. And you got Reed Nelson against the Dodgers. So why the Dodgers are low owned today? Somebody else can try to figure that one out. We'll see if that stays the case. I don't think it will. I think it's going to be a bullpen game-ish for – I don't know what they're doing because Reed Nelson's not throwing that many pitches. But, yeah, Dodgers my favorite individual stack. A's my favorite game. That's where I'm at today. And Yamamoto is a good pitching option, but it's hard to get both he and Skubal in. If you can, I think it's very reasonable to do it. But not a lot of great pitching options on this slate, in my opinion, outside of Skubal.
So this is. I'm kind of a little disappointed that you were telling me that Ryan Nelson isn't going to pitch a lot because I would love to have him pitch a lot if I were stacking the Dodgers.
What's that?
I would love to have him pitch a lot if I were stacking the Dodgers. Actually,
yeah.
As a matter of fact, it was really funny. I was just looking at alt lines for the Dodgers, and I don't know why I keep thinking that I'm going to go to DraftKings and I'm going to be able to get like a big amount of odds on something that I feel has no chance to win, but I want to take a shot anyway. I just look for the hell of it. The Dodgers minus 5.5 runs. They give me a full plus 3.3 to 1. I mean,
oh my God,
Jesus.
That's ridiculous.
I mean,
that's ridiculous.
I mean, come on, man. Like,
that's when you're supposed to be getting like the 9-10 to 1 at least.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, at least they put another on the other side. Like you could lay 5.08 to 1 with the Diamondbacks as far as that goes. Nonetheless, I have the Dodgers rated one of the top 2.
Yep.
And I have Yamamoto rated kind of like top 2 also.
It's just about how you do it, you know. How do you?
Well, you just can't play Skubal in those lineups.
That's the thing, though. Is are you really picking him over Skubal when they're that close in price?
Well, you're not picking him over him. In other words, you're building a portfolio. You know what I mean? Like
right.
If you gave me a choice, one or the other, I would take Skubal. You know, honestly, I think that if I'm going to play one lineup in like something big, I'm probably not going to play either of them. I think.
The problem is the other guys you're stuck with, Will Warren.
Yeah, I mean,
Ricardo, the guys we all are questionable about.
Well, I mean, at least Luzardo, you have a good matchup, sort of. Like
Warren too, yeah.
Sort of a good matchup. The Gavin Williams, if that game plays, I mean that. Yeah, now I see what you're saying. I mean, like if that game plays, he's going to be a really, really good option. You know?
Yeah. I think that I think he would be my highest owned pitcher if the game needs to go. But if it's even questionable, I can't even risk, whatever.
But it was interesting. I think what happened was like Ober started. I stopped paying attention. Ober started. They went like an inning.
The game was delayed for 2 hours or an hour and a half in the second inning.
They're right. But what I'm saying is that they delayed it, and then he came back. I think he pitched more. I think.
Yeah, but then they got delayed again in the fourth. So I don't know what happened after that.
Right, but no. What I'm saying is, it's not like 100% sure that if there's a delay, your pitcher's dead.
No. Yeah, I'm more worried about this game just getting canceled before.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. That's always a risk.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I ran my sims and my everything, and with totally different, totally, but reasonably different projections. And while you had Scooble and the Rangers pretty much your top owned, I have Scooble and the Rangers as my top owns.
Yeah.
It's
I'm not going to play this. That's just what it gave me. Okay.
Yeah. So my breakdown's a little different. I don't have as extreme as Scooble. I have Scooble 50 and Gavin Williams 40. Yeah. And Luzardo 40. But then I have Texas, not quite the 70 you might have, but I have him at 45, close enough. And then I have the Baltimore at 30. That I'll live with. I mean, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I don't either.
But the other one I have on the other side of the game, I have the Milwaukee.
I don't think that's bad.
Which is interesting, and then the Yankees, who are going to be really chalky, I believe.
The Yankees will be popular because people love to stack against Corbin, but maybe people have gotten tired of doing it early in this season, where maybe they end up a little bit lower owned than we might think. I mean, even the hitters, when I looked this morning, they weren't like. I mean, this is not like a crazy amount of. I think it's going to be higher than this. But this is not much ownership at all. Like, I was kind of surprised.
What do you think the home run line is on Aaron Judge in this game?
I would bet it's less than 2-1.
I was going to say less than 2-1. You think? Let me see.
I think so.
It is. That's pretty good.
Maybe
plus 170.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Plus 170.
Yeah, makes sense. And he doesn't need to hit a home run to left. And and by the way, the wind is not going to affect a guy like him anyway, but still. Yeah.
With some of these other home runs props, well, I don't want to do lefty, but that's not. How about we get 7-1 on Volpe? But that's the thing. Like he's in the league still because he just doesn't get blown up the way he used to. You know what I mean, Corbin?
Yeah.
They'll probably say, listen, you're here in Yankee Stadium. It's just just give up the home run to Aaron Judge. We'll give you an extra bonus so that, keep the league going. You need Aaron Judge to get his home runs, so throw into him. And then, listen, you'll get maybe Cody Bellinger will strike out maybe once or twice, hitting seventh or something like that. I don't know where they're going to play. Actually, they can't have him hitting seventh, right? But maybe lefty, give him, maybe they'll throw him one. Who else on this team? Grisham?
Grisham is one that's interesting. Grant Niefer picked Grisham, I know, on his list.
Yeah. He's plus 400. He's plus 400 at a home.
Plus 400. Oh, there's some books that he's plus 600, apparently.
Well, I told you DraftKings
plus 400 on a lefty. Ooh, that's a rough number.
How about Wyatt Langford plus 475 against Will Warren?
Wyatt Langford should never be. Well, actually, that's probably right about. You know what it is? That's actually like a reasonable number, but it's like what makes sense. That's why we like it. That's why it just makes sense. It's a good number, but it's like a normal number. It's like what it should be.
Right. Well, if it's a normal number, it's probably a huge value, right? It's like
that's all you can do these days. It's so
who else
ridiculous.
do we have? What other funny stuff can we do?
I'll tell you. Okay, so I'll tell you who's going to hit a home run today. It's Andy Pages is going to hit a home run today.
That's what I was going to say. Let's see some of these guys. So Anthony Pages.
Andy.
He's plus 425.
That's not good enough.
They're never good enough. That's the problem. Well, because you think of it another way. So he's plus 425. Like Freeman is plus 370.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I
mean, give me more Freeman.
Although it's possible he could
Oh,
hit more home runs this year than Freeman.
Ohtani is the same as Judge.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. He keeps hitting them every day. I mean, I don't know what to do. He's literally homered like every day, it feels like.
Whoa, wait a minute. Oh, this is something else. Mookie plus 425. Well, what you could do, you could do Andy Pages 2 home runs. You get 45 to 1. See that? Now that's something. Like at least
yeah, but I think it should be a little bit. Yeah, but 45 actually makes a little bit of sense because like he could have like 2 home run games in a season. That's reasonable.
What do you think Ohtani is for 2 home runs? Two home runs for Ohtani plus 12 to 1.
Oh, okay. He had like 5 or 6 at least last year.
Does he lead off or hit second? He's one of those.
No, right? Yeah, he leads off.
I mean, it'd be nice. He hits a leadoff, then you got an amazing sweat the rest of the day if he hits the first.
That's true. He usually hits a home run though in his second at bat. I feel like, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm getting the same stuff you're getting. I mean, I don't mind the Rangers, honestly. I've never been a big fan of any of these Yankee pitchers, honestly. You know.
Yeah, I just wish the weather I wish it was like a good hitting day, like not a kind of a weird one.
Well, I want a weird. Well, if that's true, you don't want a weird hitting day. You want a weird hitting day if you want to fade the Yankees. It's like,
yeah, exactly. That would be that's the thing. So it's sort of like your Philly argument. I can't really work both ways.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
real quick. Did you look at FanDuel?
I have not gotten to FanDuel yet.
Well, let me just at least show you, at least from projection wise. So I do have Scooble top on FanDuel. Warren is more expensive on FanDuel. Logan Henderson, if you like him, he's cheaper over there. He's 8,200. You have Yamamoto, who's cheaper than Luzardo on FanDuel, if that makes a difference. That's for pitching. And for hitting, I mean, it's as usual, just play whatever, whoever you want. Philly, Seattle maybe looks a little better there. The Athletics again. Houston again. Like Houston looks really good on my stuff, on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I actually think Littell is in play for me more on FanDuel, which is really weird to say because it's very rare that a guy's more in play for me. They have Littell with the second highest chance at a quality start, and he's 3,000 cheaper than all the other guys are. But by the way, Scooble is like they've got Scooble with a 42% chance, and like Littell is 30. So like nobody's in the same stratosphere as Scooble. Scooble the highest strikeouts and the safest upside, everything.
Before we go, only because I'm not going to be here later, you want to give me a quick take on the NBA game?
I don't have any DFS takes. I think it's going to – I'm not sure what's going to happen in the first game. I have a feeling that I think this is a great opportunity for Minnesota to try and steal one. I think that this is the spot they should be trying to attack to steal one. And I think you'll see more. It's going to be a lot of Randall and Caruso. I wouldn't be playing Caruso in DFS because I think he's going to end up guarding Randall or Edwards a lot of the time, especially Randall. And I think also Jaden McDaniels is going to be on Shea almost all the time with a little bit of Anthony Edwards there. I think this is a series where Anthony Edwards breaks through, and I also think that the bigs for Utah. But my favorite one being, I think it's going to be interesting to see I would bet on it early on with the Naz Reid stuff, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's not the right series. Just because, like, you take he and Chet, but Chet's like a much better version of what he is. I don't know.
Yeah, I have this, and this might be hedging or whatever. I have this feeling this goes one of two ways. I think that it's either like the Anthony Edwards show out, and it's a freaking wild, awesome 7-game series, or like right out of the bat, OKC wins by 35, and Minnesota's like, huh, what just happened? And next thing you know, it's 4-0. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, so we're. I think this first game is obviously going to be very, very, very telling. But I'm with you, man. And we talked about him the other day. I mean, Anthony Edwards, man. He's legit. I mean, he's legit. He's a good player. He's a good leader. You get pretty much his best game. He's always just when like how many times this year is says Anthony Edwards is injured, is going to the locker room, and like 5 minutes later he's back on the court. You know,
Yeah.
like he loves playing. You know, and he can carry. You know,
And you could put him in a series against anyone, including Jordan and Kobe, and he would still think he's the best player on the court. He just doesn't have another way of thinking.
Yeah, he can carry the team. Just don't know where else they're gonna, what else they're gonna get. You know, that's the only thing. We'll see.
My other one, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's cousin.
Ooh, that's right. I forgot about that.
They train together, so I would edge on playing more Gilgeous-Alexander. Also, I don't think Mike Conley ends up being able to stay on the court very much in this.
Yeah,
series.
I agree with that. Huh?
So I think DiVincenzo and Alexander Walker are the right answers, and I actually think Alexander Walker ends up guarding Shai more and gets extra minutes because of it. That's my take.
I think the more I think about this, I think the more like Anthony Edwards is like that play you just kind of have to play every game. You know, he's going to carry so much usage for that team. You know, and until the game gets blown out, if it all gets blown out, he's just going to be on the court. You know, he's going to be. That's their path. That's their path to victory. He gets 40 minutes. You know, that's their path. I don't know if is he a 40-minute guy though? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, he'll play. Yeah, he'll play 40 minutes.
And so I think that he's the way you probably have to start almost all your lineups in all formats. You know, with these games. That's I was talking through it. That's my conclusion.
Yeah, I like the guard take the best. The Alexander Walker and the DiVincenzo and not Conley for this series.
Yeah, I agree. I think Conley. Listen, he's been very, very great. He's been great for them. You know
great, absolutely.
He's been great. I agree. This is a tough one.
This is a team with like 7 guys who are lightning quick. It's just not going to work.
Right.
All right, man. Well, I'll have a great time at the game tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And guys, I'll see you guys later at 5:30 or 5:45 potentially today.
And tomorrow we could do the golf tomorrow.
Yep, we got golf.
And with any luck, and it's the Knicks tomorrow night. So I'm going to attempt to maybe do live stream tomorrow night. We'll see how it goes.
Nice. Oh, okay. All right. I think I'm in on that one.
Okay. Hang in.